Hello! So I just wrapped up my playthrough of Blood West. What is Blood West, you may ask? Well, Blood West is an open-world RPG FPS stealth immersive sim where you sneak around, loot, and f***ing die. Okay, so it did not fucking work. This game is extremely brutal and will try to kill you any chance it gets. But I will say that if I can beat this game, anybody can beat this game. So the first hours of Blood West are going to test your patience. Sneaking around and taking down monsters with melee is going to be your best bet in those early hours. One thing I was worried about while I was playing the game early is I really didn't want the game to just be melee and then guns are used as a last resort option, but thank God that's not the case. You can and should use guns when it's smart to. Enemies in Blood West are not death, but they're close to it. They're almost death. What I mean by this is shooting your gun isn't going to alert every enemy on the map. There's a small radius, and I mean really small radius, that your gunshot will be heard, and honestly, it's pretty forgiving how close to enemies you can be. You can blast some f***er's head right beside his friend over here, and he won't see anything. He just won't hear anything. He's deaf. He's f***ing deaf. Now, picking and choosing your shots carefully is still very important, but it's usually not the end of the world if you fire your gun. You're not going to need to worry about everyone coming at you. So please, do not be afraid to shoot everything you come across in Blood West. Gameplay and world exploration is the best part of Blood West. I had so much fun exploring each of the 3 maps available. Each chapter has its own open world full of locations to explore and quests to complete. Quests kind of go one way in this game. It's usually go here, grab this, go here, put this item here. That's about it. Most of the time, that's all you're really going to be doing. Where the fun comes in is the freedom you have in the order that you can do these in. Whenever you start, you got one objective. You're just kind of like figuring everything out. So you go talk to NPCs, go to different safe camps that you can sleep at and talk with a trader or NPC guy, and he'll tell you, hey, I need you to go kill this all the way over here. I need you to go kill him, go shoot him in the face. And then you say, okay, I'll go do it, but for the right price. One thing I really like about this game is you can go and explore the whole map, go ahead and loot everything, acquire a lot more powerful weapons hidden around the map, and then go take on the main story. Each of these 3 maps have a lot of side areas and side things that aren't even touched by the main story, so the game really wants you to go off the beaten path and explore. Like I said, there are weapons scattered across these. If you don't have the money to purchase it from the trader, more than likely, it's sitting out somewhere in the world. You just got to go find it. So go out and explore at your heart's content, because nothing will try to kill you in this game. Everything is super easy, and you're not gonna die. I'm done. Nope. I'm taking a break. Nope. No. I'm playing a different game for a little bit. Playing a different game. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. This game was a lot scarier than I was expecting. Like, the sounds and sound effects in this game are kind of creepy. Listen to this shit. Hello? Imagine trying to just, calmly walk around, figure out where all the enemies are, and taking out each of the enemies, and then you just fucking hear a demon noise off in the distance. It sounds like it's right fucking behind you, but really it's just some big creature off in the distance that's just taunting you. Now, real quick, one of the big things in this game that you are definitely going to notice early on is when you die, you obtain a curse. There are penalties for dying in this game, and the more you die, the more you're not gonna have fun. So yeah, you get cursed whenever you die. There are ways to negate this, and I will explain those, but it's really annoying early on when you don't know what to do. You're just accumulating these curses, and it's just basically slapping you on the ass, telling you, quit playing so poorly, now fucking die. There are a few ways that you can negate these curses. You can go to the totem, the fucking skull totem. You can talk to him, give him a golden coin, and he will give you an option for 4 perks that only last for that current life. There's the cat, which is the one that I would use all the time. Basically, this gives you it's a get out of jail free card. You don't get cursed whenever you die. As long as you have this passive skill, whenever you die, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about putting any specific artifacts in your artifact bar to negate curses. You can just go spend one of these golden coins, which you will obtain a lot of throughout the game. And I'll be honest, there are some more. There's so you got the fox, which makes you quieter. There's the bear, makes you hit harder with your melee weapons, and then there's the magpie, I think highlights items around, but I'll be real, I just was walking around pressing tab everywhere because it has like a vicinity that it kind of is seeing what can be picked up, so you can just walk around pressing tab and then just like taking everything. You don't have to really look, you just use tab. The whole cursing thing, it just seems like a slap on the wrist for no reason. I mean, this game is already pretty brutal and is going to test your patience. Having this curse this early on, like right out the gate, you're just like, hey, fuck you for dying. And now we're gonna make it harder. It's like whenever you're playing Dark Souls 2, and the more you die, the less fucking health you have. Who thought that this was a good idea? Again, like I said, it's pretty easy to negate this, but yeah, it's a little annoying. Now, Chapter 1 took me around 6 hours to beat, that's pretty insane. Like, this entire open world took me a good bit to get through and explore. Now, I did go back through and play the first chapter after I beat the game to see if I could do it faster, and you can do a lot of this shit way faster. When you know where you're going and what you're looking for, the game, you can speed up the game. But I kind of liked that sense of learning the game, getting better at it, and I actually noticed something when I replayed the first chapter. I was like, fuck, I actually know what's going on now. So after finishing Chapter 1, you move on to Chapter 2, brand new map, and you know, I'm thinking to myself whenever I'm playing the game, I'm like, hey, this ain't so bad anymore. I'm learning, I'm figuring the game out. And then Chapter 2 says, fuck you, the game's 10 times harder now. Chapter 2 of Blood West changes a man. At least the first half. I don't know what happened here, but there is an insane difficulty spike that happens at the beginning of Chapter 2. I don't know what was going on. I could not get a single objective completed for like, I probably died almost 10 times. I would get halfway through an outpost, halfway close to an objective that even though is marked on the map, it doesn't tell you if it's above ground or underground. So trying to find where that X on your map is, it was a little annoying. There's a lot more enemies walking around, so the whole, oh, you can shoot your gun is not as viable in Chapter 2. Chapter 2, you really need to be stealthing a lot more. After getting halfway through Chapter 1, I kind of was having fun running around headshotting stuff, and I understand that's not what the devs were going for, so this had to happen. But, damn, this is difficult. It's difficult. The best advice I can give you for early Chapter 2 is to go buy the crossbow as soon as possible. This does a ton of damage, and the bolts are pretty cheap. I'll be real, before I started using the crossbow and just honestly brute forcing the game, I almost quit playing it. It really felt like I hit a brick wall. I wasn't sure what I was doing wrong, which wasn't the best feeling. I really loved the gameplay so much that I was like, okay, let's experiment. Let's figure out what's going on. The game does even out halfway through Chapter 2 and goes back to its still very difficult, but manageable difficulty. Everything will be a bit calmer. Not calm all the time, but you'll be able to actually go and explore and check out some of the new weapons that are scattered across this map. The weapons that you get from Chapter 2 are significantly more powerful than Chapter 1. And honestly, this is when going for and finding all the weapons, the addiction kicked in. I really had a lot of fun collecting these weapons, storing them in my stash. I'd be swapping out different weapons. I used every weapon type. Any ammo type, I used all the weapons. I was always carrying at least a crossbow or a bow on me. I would never carry both because they were pretty large, but I always had a shotgun, I always had a pistol, and I always had a rifle of some kind. However, these guns are hidden, so you do have to go where map markers aren't. Go explore tiny little islands off in the distance, and, you know, you have to go into the danger zone, basically, to get these new weapons. And, I mean, they're worth it. They're worth it. Trust me, they're worth it. But you're gonna get your ass spanked a couple times. I do really recommend going out, searching for these new weapons. There's a couple of them. I'll put them on screen right here. These are the weapons I would go search for. These will help you a lot for Chapter 3. By the way, real quick, Chapter 2, even though, yeah, I had a lot of complaints with Chapter 2 as a whole, I really think that it has probably my favorite map out of the 3. I thought Chapter 2 was fucking awesome. It felt like the closest we'll ever get to some kind of single-player hunt showdown game. It was really neat, and the creatures and enemies you come across in the swamp are terrifying and really cool. aside from all the annoyances, Chapter 2 was really cool, and I really still was enjoying the game. Chapter 2 took me around about the same amount of time, maybe a little bit longer than Chapter 1, primarily because I was dying so much at the beginning, so I'm sure if I went back and replayed through Chapter 2, I could get through it pretty quickly. Chapter 3 is the final chapter of Blood West, and if I'm being honest, I think it's my least favorite out of the 3. Not that it's bad. It's not bad by any means. I didn't find the map as interesting as the other. This one is just a forest. It's got a lot of, like, foresty stuff, foresty enemies, and it's a forest. I don't hate this. I'm acting like I hate this way more than I do. I really don't. I still, like, was having a ton of fun exploring. And honestly, Chapter 3 felt like it had the best gameplay in terms of how much ammo you were receiving, the difficulty of the enemies you were coming across, and overall the progression of Chapter 3 was the smoothest, in my opinion. I had the smoothest time getting through Chapter 3. I felt like the guns that they were giving you, the new weapons they were giving you, were actually powerful enough to handle end-game enemies without using every single bullet you have in your backpack. And for the most part, you just kind of continue doing the same thing. You go here, grab this, go here, blah, 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 get a new shiny new gun. Ooh, yeah, shiny, shiny. And then the game kind of ends. I have a couple gripes with this game. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels like this, but I didn't really like the bosses all too much in this game. There are 3 bosses, one boss at the end of each chapter, and I'd say the coolest looking one was definitely from Chapter 2. I won't show any of it because I don't want to spoil any of them because they do look cool. Most of them look cool. But in terms of fighting them, for how satisfying the game's gameplay had been up until those points, I feel like the boss fights were the weakest part of the game. But yeah, that was kind of a meh part of the game. The ending and story, I mean, again, this is not a game I'm recommending for the story. Like, this is not a story game. It does have a story. You don't need to worry about it. And yeah, the bosses aren't great either. But that's not what you're playing Blood West for. Blood West has some of the most satisfying FPS combat that I've experienced. Shooting stuff in this game feels so good, and it does feel impactful when you blast someone's head off. It's really cool. Having the penalties of death kind of hovering over you, saying, "Oh, if you die, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna curse you." It makes the game even more intense and honestly, for me, more enjoyable. I felt on the edge of my seat with every encounter. I was terrified. Even when I was getting bent over and spanked by this game, I still wanted to keep playing. I still wanted to get better at the game because of how good it felt. Not the spanking, how good the game felt. That's all I gotta say. Blood West is really good. And for 25 bucks? What? That's great value. And it's solid content. The stuff here is really good. Besides those few negatives I had, for the most part, they were overshadowed by the awesome gameplay. I will probably return to this game and replay it because I really did enjoy it that much. I thought it was pretty awesome. But with that being said, time to move on to the next game. I don't know what the fuck I'm playing. I don't have a game to pop up on the screen right now because I don't have another game I'm playing. I'm looking at a couple games. Not sure. We'll see what the old noggin wants to play. We'll see what the old think tank wants to do tomorrow. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, gamers, and have a great night.